everyone to the 2015 semester of Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. Yes, things are a little bit different this semester. You can see that I am broadcasting from my studio. This makes things easier for me because I don't have to do the commute to Eureka. I save the gas from Eureka and I can spend more time actually focusing on preparing for class. And also it's kind of nice because we're here with my actual artwork, so I can use that for some of the presentations that we'll be doing. So first of all, I'm getting going on recording this back here. This is the Educreations. So if during the lecture, if you ever feel like there's something that you couldn't see clearly or you wanted to rewind and really look at in depth, everything that I'm drawing on my little screen here, I'll do some little squiggles so you can see. I know it's a little bit hard to see from the students' point of view on the video conference, but I'm drawing on the screen back here. And so if there's anything here, like I'll just make a little gesture so now you can see a little bit easier. So if there's anything where you're ever like, I can't see what she's really drawing, do not be concerned because everything that's on the screen gets uploaded and you can access it later. And I try to choose big things that you can see easily because I recognize that the resolution is not so great. And the way that I'm structuring things this semester is there's level 1 and level 2. So level 1 is the initiatory stuff. Mike and Ed and Inanna's already been exposed to a lot of that material. I'm focusing on that during the first section of the video conference, but really this is a one-room schoolhouse, so everything is blended. And people who have already been exposed to the first level of lessons have that perspective that they can what I'm basically trying to say is that everybody's opinions and insights are welcome, not to make an artificial distinction, but that if you ever needed to be like, oh, I have an appointment or whatever, level 1 first hour, level 2 second hour. And when the video conferences are recorded, they're going to be uploaded separately because 2 hours is too long for YouTube to be able to deal with scrolling through and everything like that. So let's begin with the chakras. This is what this is all about. First of all, I'm just centering myself because the technological snafus always make me feel so agitated. But the chakras are the beginning point on this journey because it's your own energetic anatomy. And there is nothing better, like when in art school, the first thing that you do is you paint self-portraits because you are always there as a model. And really, we contain all of the information that is contained in the universe in our own microcosmic format. So you can truly learn about or investigate anything you choose to investigate simply by looking at yourself as a tiny, perfect, microcosmic, fractal fragment of the universe. Your own energetic anatomy is mirrored in the energetic anatomy of our planet and of the solar system and of the sun and of the galaxy itself. So I want to get into also a distinction of what is different about the information that I present as opposed to some of the other teachers that present information about chakras. It is all valid. However, I will tell you that a lot of it is not very precise. And I endeavor to give information in a very precise way. The truth is, as we as consciousness are being refined, so the planetary consciousness is being refined, many people are rising up. It's wonderful to see. However, it's just like in school, it's a foundation. And if you don't learn your times tables, like 2 times 2 is 4 and 3 times 3 is 9, if you don't learn that early in school, then when you get to later lessons, it's hard to figure things out because you didn't form that foundation. Learning about the chakras and energy and consciousness without really learning about what the anatomy looks like and learning the proportional nature of the anatomy is like going through school without learning your times tables. So a lot of information about the chakras, it presents it as if the chakras are like a ball of light, like a nebulous form or just an area on the body. And I am here to tell you that that's a huge simplification that does not do you service, that it is much better to know exactly what things are shaped like so that you can utilize them better. This is for anyone. If you are a massage therapist, if you are a healing practitioner of any sort, like basically anybody who does any kind of body work can really benefit from learning the nuts and bolts of energetic anatomy and how this all fits together. And it's something that you can apply to the larger universe. When you learn, oh, my chakras fit together in these nested proportions, and the significance is blah, 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 you can then apply that to other things like a sun or a planet or understanding at any size. So first, let's just start off with some pictures, because pictures really do tell more than a million words. So back here, I just pulled up this, and I'm gonna increase it in size so you can see. This is a glass piece that I did, which broke tragically. I won't get into the story of it, but I'm happy that I photographed it, because you can see that within each of the chakras, so let's even, chakras. Chakras comes from a Sanskrit word that means spinning wheel. This is a three-dimensional sculpture that I did a long time ago, and it's greenware. That means it's not fired. That's why this is worn away. It's been in a backpack and thrown on tables and all sorts of things for a long time. But I keep it because this is one of my magical little things that shows what chakras are really shaped like. This back here, this is a flat representation of something that is actually not only three-dimensional, but it is fourth dimensional, because it is created out of energy as it flows. So chakra means spinning wheel. These are spinning wheels of energy. They may be understood as energy centers on the body. Your body is full of energy. And what we're doing here is establishing a vocabulary. Many people who are, we would say, like a part of the new paradigm, they speak about energy, they speak about light, they speak about frequency. We are now establishing what exactly do we mean when we talk about energy. So when I'm drawing these pictures, I am drawing the non-physical body. We can all establish via consensual reality the body that you can touch. This is your physical body. But your body is comprised of many layers. When I zoom out, you should be able to see all of these layers. All of these layers, all the way from the very bottom down here, which is representing the physical layer, all the way through orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet up here, which represents the divine connection, a connection to the higher dimensional, less dense realms. All of that is your quote-unquote energy body. So in mathematical terms, your physical body is a subset of your energy body. Your physical body is like a slice, like the molecules of your body are a portion of what you are made of. Oops, let's bring up another image to the forefront here and make it bigger so you can actually see it and turn it so that it's not crooked. Sometimes technology works and sometimes it doesn't. Let's see. So, okay, good. That's pretty visible. This is a painting that I did in order to just work out the basic proportions that I was working with in terms of light waves. Let's also do a little bit of this. Where does this information come from? Aurora, where does this information come from? Well, this information comes to me through direct insight. So when I share with you, hello, beautiful fur person, when I share with you a painting like this is from pretty early on in my journey. And these paintings have a value because they're like footsteps on a journey. So when I share with you, oh, I did this one a long time ago, I did it so that I could share it with other people who could then get that basic lesson. So I may walk in and I am in telepathic rapport with higher dimensional, less dense intelligence. These are beings, these are consciousnesses, and this is my family of consciousness, or these are entities that are my family, and it's part of my story. And I get more into my story of why I walked in and the exact flying rainbow lasagna interdimensional portal through which I came. But I bring this up because this helps you to understand that this is not information that I read in a book. And even though I work with entities that are teachers, what good teachers really do is teach you how to teach yourself. And so I have learned how to open the aperture of my third eye and attenuate or focus on whatever I wish to learn about. And so I can give you direct lessons about how to do that. It has to do with things that we'll get into. Cultivating unconditional love is one part of it, because unconditional love is the gas that makes your car go. Unconditional love is the water that goes into the hose that allows this to actually function. Unconditional love is literally the currency of the universe, and it is necessary to cultivate enough of that so that you can have enough quote-unquote money in the bank to use your third eye in the way that you wish to use it. Chakras are created by energy whirling and twirling amidst itself. I know this is a little bit distracting. The sun literally just came out, and I had all of my light and fill lights all set up here too, so we'll see if I have to adjust that, but bear with me. Chakras are the energy centers. So it's like saying you are made of energy that is all over, but there are some places where it is concentrated, okay? And that there's a system of color associated with each of the chakras. So this is a nice big painting you can see really, really clearly, and we'll just go through this. The largest chakra and the longest wavelength is red. And we will get into wavelength more in a later lesson. For right now, I'm just going into the colors. Red is a wavelength that travels the furthest of any of the wavelengths. For example, this is why stop signs and stoplights are red, because you can see them literally from the furthest away. Same thing with red berries, like fruit gets red when it is ripe because you can see it from furthest away, and fruit is really the reproductive strategy of a plant, so the plant wants many, many beings to be able to see it. I'm just going to see if I can adjust this shade for, bear with me one moment here. Okay, I hope that will work a little better so you can see my face a little better. Let me also be clear that when I'm talking about light here, we talk about the light body, and same thing like in the New Age movement. Many people talk about your light body. What do I mean by this? It is not necessarily the same type of light, like there we go, like I just adjusted the lighting over there and adjusted the lighting on my face. We're not necessarily talking about that level of light. We are talking about the level of light that you perceive with your non-physical energy center. So to clarify, I use my physical eyeballs to perceive physical light. I use my non-physical energy center to perceive non-physical light. And non-physical light is what this body is made out of. This is what we have back here. So you can see, and I will also outline because I know that it's a little bit harder for you to see for people who are, there we go. This right here is an anthropomorphic person in the middle of this painting. Anthropomorphic meaning human-shaped, having one head and 2 arms and 2 legs. And then you can see there's a lot of stuff all around this person. That is your light body. So New Age writings and literature, people often speak about the light body, and we are cultivating the light body. And what are we doing? What we are doing is accreting light or accreting consciousness. So now I'd like to speak a little bit about light as consciousness. Literally, information and awareness travel in the form of light. Light that comes from the sun is not merely a form of energy. Like science has done a great disservice in programming humans to simply look at light or some phenomenon as being not conscious. And I will tell you that the sun and light from the sun is absolutely aware. It is awareness that is traveling to you, and it brings information. On a very basic level, if I'm in a room that's dark, the lights are out, I cannot see anything. There's no information. When I turn on the lights, then information is able to come to me and I'm able to perceive. This is what light is to the sun. So now I'm asking you to do some yoga of perception. If you are new to this, then you might have been programmed by science to look at the sun as just a dead, idiotic nuclear reaction that's happening in the sky, as opposed to a brilliant, intelligent, mindful, intentful consciousness that is thinking and dreaming reality and creating the timelines that we all experience as our daily waking reality. Very different. That is how I am talking about the sun and sunlight and solar consciousness in this class. Literally the understanding that you and I are all made of light. So now let's get into what are the chakras made of, because these are important things. What are the chakras shaped like? How are they formed? What are they made of? So we've just been doing a little bit of what they're shaped like. They basically have a nested proportion, and the proportions have to do with the proportions of sunlight. So I hope that you can see. Let's see if I can adjust the focus a little bit. No, not. It's just not that bright back there, but I hope that you can see, and I will highlight the basic shapes here. Like we've got this four-lobed shape. And if you look at this, let's do it like this. Do you see the negative space? Negative space, positive versus negative. How can I describe negative space? The negative space of a coffee cup is that space in there. Everything that's not the cup, okay? All right, so when I speak about the negative space in this sculpture, I'm talking about every place where there is nothing. So those four little lobes are spaces of quote-unquote nothingness. You can also see those four lobes back here behind me in this painting, Children of True Humanity. Here, 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 and here. And now I'll bring that up on a little screen so that you can see it. Oops. Here we go. Now, ironically enough, I have highlighted and put the painting on the screen in front of the actual painting. But you can, if you choose to, check this out on Educreations, and I brought this image up because you can see very well in this painting I used some shading and some tricks of the trade of being an artist, being able to show that this is actually a football shape. So now let's get into one of my other super supreme sculptures here. I joke because this is like made out of child's clay. This is not archival material, but it works well enough to be able to show you this is the negative space of this shape. Okay, this shape is made out of four vortexes. So this would be one vortex. It's round on the end and pointy in the middle. And then you can see four vortexes fit in the middle. And that is exactly what we have here. We have four vortexes. Let's show you another one where you can see the four vortexes. I think that this painting is very clear, but it just might be a little bit difficult for you to see. There we go. I'll make it bigger. And within each one of these vortexes, there are 7 layers. That was the point of making this painting. So you have 7 layers to your body, your totality, including your physical layer. Let's go through them very quickly, all right? Red is the physical layer. Orange is the emotional layer. Red is at the base of the spine, and let us be clear, the base of the spine does not equal the anus. The base of the spine is at your coccyx bone, okay? So when you sit down in order to place your root chakra on the earth, you do that by placing the base of your spine against the earth. The next chakra up from that is your belly. This is also called the hara. This is from teachings of the Far East. It is associated with orange. It is the level of mammalian emotions. And let's even get a little bit into evolutionary biology and the format and structure of your brain. Making a little bit of room back here so I can do a little bit of drawing. So your brain has brain stem, which is called medulla oblongata, your cerebellum, there's cerebrum, and then there's the cerebral cortex, which is this is super simplified here, which is what we associate with human thought, okay? So the medulla oblongata, this area right down here, this is often called the reptilian brain. because, and I'm going to highlight it in red, it is associated with the red and the first chakra, all right? The first chakra says one thing. It says, I am. It says, I exist. It says, I exist and I'm allowed to exist. This is an important lesson. If you don't learn that lesson, you can't exist. If you don't form that first basis of the pyramid of existence, you cannot build on top of it with your consciousness. So the very first lesson is I am. And the lessons of that chakra are lessons about survival. It's all about kill or be killed. When you encounter someone or something, you think, can I eat it? Will it eat me? Should I run away? Should I try to eat it? These are very basic lessons. These are like the lessons of a one-celled animal or a planarium or something like that. Just collecting my thoughts. In evolutionary biology, we understand that the brain forms in analogous parallels to the way that life evolved in the physical realm. So when you're a fetus and you're developing, first you develop this reptilian brain. Then on top of that, you develop the mammalian brain. Now let's highlight with some orange. I'm trying to use the right thing, right tool on the right screen to write on. So I've just done a bunch of orange coloring on top of that. If you can imagine the next layer of neurons, this is the next layer of biology, which is mammalian. The mammalian survival paradigm is not kill or be killed. It is I value the group, okay? And all of the emotions that have to do with the orange level, it's the level of your guts, your quote-unquote intuition. It's also where all of your gut bacteria live. These emotions are absolutely crucial for building community. Mammalians live in community. The difference between mammals and reptiles is live birth and nourishing the young. So for a reptile, and this is not to judge or cast aspersions at all, because we'll get into extraterrestrial life and reptilian extraterrestrial life, and there's a lot in there. But right now we're talking about Earth biology, and when Earth reptiles, they lay their eggs, which are fertilized, and then they go away. And when the babies hatch, they are not nourished by a mother, even though, of course, their mother loves them in a reptilian sense. Their mother doesn't come back and brush away the sand and help them out of their eggshells and give them little pieces of food. That is not a reptilian survival strategy. Reptilian survival strategy is to lay 1,000 eggs and then just let them go and let them hatch. And then a few of them will make it to the ocean of consciousness. A few of them will survive and be able to thrive. Mammalian survival strategy is different. Mammalian survival strategy says, I'm just going to have a couple of babies, maybe one or two, maybe only even one. And I'm going to be there when it's born. And I'm going to actually make food for it and feed it. And I'm going to nourish it during the first, elements of its life and give it a good start. And that is my survival strategy for bringing my genetic material and ideas into the next generation, okay? So imagine all of the emotions and equipment that are necessary to perform those tasks. We get now into social sensitivity. Is my baby hungry? Do I need to feed all of the things that mothers need to learn about their babies are mammalian emotions. And also, there's more here. It is pro-survival to live in community, because if you have to take care of a little newborn baby, you might need to put it down while you go get some food or, get some water. It really helps to have someone to look after the baby so that a wild dingo doesn't come along and eat it while you're getting food or water. This is the pro-survival strategy of living in community, okay? And then on to the next level of neurological evolution and biology, this cerebral cortex, the bumpy layer that is on the top of the brain that we associate with human thought. So we would say a mammal such as, like a squirrel has a physical body, yes, that's red, has mammalian emotions, yes, those are orange, but it doesn't have a yellow layer. It has a squirrel thought layer. So a squirrel's brain is much less convoluted and bumpy on the surface. They have fewer neural connections. They have less of a capacity for the daily waking cognitive thought that humans do. Although, please do not misinterpret me, animals have a beautiful mind and a beautiful consciousness, but it is not the mind that you and I use. the mind that humans use is different. We use verbalized language, and yes, you can take me to task on this, make me be impeccable. Dolphins use language. Birds use verbalized language. Other animals use pheromones as language. So there's all sorts of different beautiful animals that use language to communicate. However, it is not necessarily the type of language that humans have. And I did not say that humans have developed. Humans have language the way you have the flu or have a virus or have, you know, polio. You have language. So now we're going to get into this a little bit. Hacked operating system. I speak about this a lot, and usually I allude to it because many people are not psychologically prepared for the information. But you're in the class, you're enrolled, you're here, and many people are returning students, so I don't have to couch my language. You are currently running a hacked operating system. What you use as quote unquote your human mind does not originate from humanity, and it was not created in your best interests, and it has been foisted upon you so that you are running an operating system that, first of all, it reduces your RAM. Like RAM is how your memory. You know, the idea of putting information into a computer and not being able to access it later means it's a broken computer. But people accept that about their minds all the time. Like, what, I told you that phone number, you don't remember that phone number? That's ridiculous. How can you not remember it? Information went into your mind. What, do you have a broken mind? Yes, the answer is yes. We all have broken minds. We were intended to have 100% recall. There's no way in the world that you should have to live with such a dull computer that cannot remember things from moment to moment and that cannot remember important things that have happened to you. We should all be able to remember everything that we wish to remember at any time, total recall. So this is the first lesson. We'll get way more into exactly how it was hacked and exactly what that hack means to you. And lesson 18 is the full reveal where you really find out all about this. But suffice it to say that your mind is not your friend, and that the way to get in touch with true mind and true consciousness is to stop talking. I use my flapping mouth parts to communicate here, and I do recorded videos and I do a lot, but the way that I really prefer to communicate is with artwork like this, with abstract, non-verbal communications, with visual symbols like this, and also with music. Because these are the ways that we bypass the hack. That it means distorted. When I say hacked, I mean like hackers who hack your computer. It means a distorted system that is not operating in the way that it was intended to. So when you were a little tiny child and you came here as an infant, you had to find a way to communicate to the people around you your needs. You're like, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I got a poopy diaper, someone has to know about this. And you had to figure out how to use language to get them to know about it, because it's a survival strategy. So much of this has to do with just getting by, just figuring out how to survive. But we are much more than that. So we've done red, orange, yellow, body, mammalian emotions, and human mind. For many, many years, this was the human condition. Only very special people got to get up to the level of unconditional love. That's green, by the way, and it's at the level of the heart. I'll just bring this up so that you can see it, and we will clear the ink. This level of unconditional love. So this is a bit of a simplified picture, but you can see all of the chakras are meeting at the level in this person's chest. That is not merely a place for yogis and meditators and saints and mystics. That's for everyone. That is actually supposed to be the baseline of your human experience. And the human experience has been degraded so that most people only ever get a tiny little glimpse of unconditional love. You know, peak moments where they might get their energy up to that level. But you're not supposed to only have a tiny bit of that, you're supposed to have that all the time. So I have 1 more minute left on this recording. Let me just wrap that up and then get going on the second half. Thank you for being with me. And then I'll set my thing up again. Brief pause while this thing does its processing. Good. And let me just pull up a nice picture for us. You're very patient and I appreciate it. Yeah, okay. Well, here's one picture that I need, and here's the other picture that I need. EduCreations has a limit to half an hour, so I can't put too much into it, so I just started again. There we go. Okay, so now I've got a nice picture here of a person with their chakras, and I hope that you can see that okay. And I'll turn this down so maybe you can, there we go. All right. We were at green, the level of unconditional love. This level right here. So that is like the pivot that a seesaw pivots upon. You have what is called, quote unquote, the lower nature, red, orange, yellow, and then you have the higher nature, blue, indigo, and violet. And these two aspects of self pivot. Let's see if I can even do this, make it look good. Let's rotate this 90 degrees. There we go. Oh my goodness, I even did it. Look, these pivot on unconditional love. And I know that visually this doesn't look equal. It looks like there's more, you know, in the physical realm, but energetically these aspects of self are equal. And there's a lot of teachings, you know, New Age teachings, the new paradigm and everything like that, where people talk about your higher self. Well, one of the things I would like to say is that moving forward, we are not going to make this artificial distinction anymore between quote unquote higher self versus lower self. First of all, we are resolving duality. Any of these things that are about something versus its opposite, we are resolving. This is the Flying Rainbow Lasagna. I resolve duality. Don't worry, we'll get into this in subsequent lessons, so just understand that that's like whetting your appetite. And I just need to drink a little something. Your higher faculties were always meant to be there. The constant chatter of the verbalized mind, due to the hacked operating system, have made it very difficult for many people to gain access to their higher faculties. When I talk about higher faculties, I am referring to, so this is unconditional love is here. And that means compassion, acceptance. It is literally a tone. And you know something? I'm actually pleased that I'm doing this recording from my studio because I've got my piano here, so I can play a tone. Let's play an A. Technically it's tuned to 440, but if it were tuned to 432 hertz, that is supposed to be the tone of unconditional love. E-A. So the idea is that unconditional love is not just an airy-fairy ideal, like, I love you. You know something? I love my cat. But unconditional love is not necessarily the desire to hug or kiss or marry or anything like that. It is total acceptance. When we're talking about time, chakras, we are talking about time. This might seem like I have just jumped track, but I haven't. Total acceptance and time are intertwined. Because you are a lot like, I might be dating myself by saying this, but remember Pac-Man? I just drew Pac-Man behind me. The old video game, the little ASCII man who would go along and would munch these little white dots of energy in front of it. That's what we are like. We are third-dimensional beings. We have a three-dimensional body, and we're submerged within the fourth dimension. That means we are submerged within the river of time. And I will get more into what exactly the dimensions are. So again, this is an introductory first lesson for people that are just wetting their feet. The river, the flow of time, you are achieving unconditional love if you, like Pac-Man, eat the little dot that is right in front of your face. If you're not grasping for the dot that's one dot ahead, like this one over here, And you're also not lagging, trying to eat a dot that's already gone by. Think about this. Think about how much of your mental effort during your day you spend grasping for the future, thinking about the future. Oh, it's time for me to do this. Soon I'm going to do this. In 10 years, I'm going to do this. At 3 o'clock, I'm going to do this. What is different about the human mind and that yellow, hacked operating system, different in humans than in other animals, is the perception of time. Most animals are not aware of time in the sense of, at 8 o'clock, I will go to a meeting. You know, they don't think like that. Most animals are in the now, although they certainly have memories based upon what they have experienced in the past. Most animals are focused on the sensorium and the experience of being in the now and are not busy anticipating their future. This is very different than most humans, who spend a lot of time either in anxiety or excited anticipation about the future. The human mind understands and is aware of time, and it often wastes the now thinking about grasping for the future or being stuck on the past. So think about this. Think about how many present moments of now you have not fully ingested because you were busy ruminating about the past. Like chewing gum, you know, to chew and chew and chew is to ruminate. Many people have an experience and then their mind ruminates, chew and chew and chew and chew, and you can be chewing on that experience totally oblivious to all of the wonderful things that are in the sensorium around you. A butterfly flying by, a magical crystal, a flower, sunlight. It doesn't matter because you're not connected to the present. You're not connected to those experiences. You're busy thinking about the past. That's the antithesis of unconditional love. When you are not in the present, you are not a clear conduit for solar consciousness. You're a little piece of the sun. You were sent here to be an eyeball, an experiencer of the sensorium. And when you are busy ruminating and chewing and thinking about the past and not being in the present, it means that the sun isn't able to get a clear signal. It means that your experiences are not being broadcast and sent back to that great being in the sky. Unconditional love, the tone, means that I am sending out an equal amount of energy to what is being sent to me. And that is a definition that you can apply to human experiences. If you want to know, is it a loving relationship? Ask yourself, is it equal? Am I sending out an equal amount to what I am receiving? And this really works in every single way. Let's talk like to the planet. How do you be unconditionally loving to a planet? Well, you say, okay, I breathe this much, I use this many resources, I do this much with this. What do I give back? And this is how we begin to think about this. Like, it's probably easier on an anthropomorphic level to say, how do we have a loving relationship? Well, if I drive you to the dentist, then when you need a ride someplace, you drive, you will drive me. We reciprocate. And unconditional love in a human relationship really means that it is non-exploitive, totally accepting. And when I am in telepathic rapport with my non-physical family of origin, I'm very, very careful that it is a loving relationship, that what I send out and what I emit is sent, an equal amount of energy is sent to me. So there's two things. Unconditional love in partnership means an equal amount is being sent back and forth. But let's talk about Pac-Man, being Pac-Man. That means unconditional love in your partnership with the universe. When you sit in meditation, you are not having expectation. You are not grabbing and grasping for the energy that's coming to you. You're not stuck on the energy that already has gone by. You're just sitting in a receptive state. And that receptivity and acceptance is the tone of unconditional love. Unconditional love also does not mean that you have to be a doormat and that you have to somehow allow anyone to do anything to you. Like, no, 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 no. Like, behaviorally, unconditional love does not mean like, sure, shoot me with a gun, you know, flay me alive, whatever. It's all the same. Like, no, not at all. The way that we understand unconditional love behaviorally and on an anthropomorphic level is, I love you. If you have the need to have the life experience of being a mass murderer and killing people, I love you and I accept that you have that need for that life experience. But I do not have to be one of your victims because first chakra. What's the first chakra lesson, everyone? Right down here. I'm highlighting it down at the bottom of my screen. The first chakra lesson is I am. I'm allowed to exist. So the chakras are lessons and they are cumulative lessons, right? I am, I exist, I feel. On top of that is I think. On top of that is I love. So just because you love doesn't mean that you have to be a doormat and allow people to kill you. And this is, you know, a fine point in the understanding. Let's get up above the level of unconditional love. We are heading now for the throat chakra, and I'm going to highlight it over here on the screen. I hope that you can see what I am highlighting over there. This is communication. And communication means not just words and what I say with my voice. My arms extend outward from that level of my throat. And really any gestures with my hands, writing, drawing, playing the piano, really anything that we do with our hands is really done to communicate. Up from the level of communication this is the indigo chakra. It's called the brow chakra, and we're going to do a lot. I have a whole lesson all about the pineal gland, so do not be concerned if I don't get into all of the details of it. But basically, this is a major focal point of your awareness. This is the center of your higher faculties, but just getting to this level, you have not completed your journey. It is necessary to get all the way up to the level of the crown chakra. I offer this caveat because many people in their spirit practice, which by the way, this is called Kundalini. When you cultivate your energy and raise it up your spine, and filter it through all of your chakras so that it eventually explodes joyously out the top of your head. And of course, you can then circulate it back through the heart or back through your brow and send it back to the sun. But when you perform that maneuver, you are raising your Kundalini. And I bring this up because this is something that has been done for thousands of years. And there is a whole I would say, system of observation and writings about it that have been codified and even made into religions. It's not of value to get stuck in the form, but it is of value to understand that this is not new information and that people have been doing it for a long time and that people have become experts at it. Just like if you have ever made bread, it's pretty simple ingredients, but it's all about technique. And people have been doing it for a very long time, and people have absolutely perfected the technique of being able to do it. So raising your Kundalini, this is an ancient thing that people have been doing for a very long time. But if you rise, like mercury rising in a thermometer, if it goes up, 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 and you get to here, and you think, that's it, I'm divine, I'm done, the bread is ready to come out of the oven, without understanding that you haven't really gone all the way until you reach the crown chakra. So this is really crucial because humanity is coming out of the age of Pisces. Pisces, like the astrological sign, is associated with the fish and is associated with Jesus and the Christian religion. And we're exiting that era and we are entering the era of Aquarius. So we're leaving with the focus being here, and now we're entering the era where the focus is here. And that is going to bring balance, because if this is like your library card of the universe, this is the librarian of the universe. And this is really crucial. I'm going to make this painting as big as you can get it so that hopefully you can see it on the screen back there. There's a point of intersection between these two chakras. So chakras have an orientation, like if they are vertical or horizontal. And because they're spinning, just like a bicycle, they have a gyroscopic stabilization. That means a bicycle, bicycle is skinny. It's like this. it doesn't fall over because it's made of spinning wheels. And it's the same thing with your chakras. Your chakras are spinning energetic wheels, and they act as gyroscopic stabilizers of your consciousness as you are traveling on your timelines. I think I'm doing a big reveal right now when I tell you that your chakras are made up of timelines. And I am going to draw for the first time in this class, but returning students are very familiar with this, the time vortex picture that I always draw right here. I hope you can see this. I'll draw it super, super, super dark. That line is your birth, your starting point. And these bounding edges here are flowing waterfalls or membranes. I call them the membrane of death. This central, let me make a different color. This central line that is red, that is the only line that exits this time vortex. And now I'm going to draw green lines. All of these green lines are timelines. And this is the cross section of one of these vortexes. You can see this shape right down here. Well, maybe I'll turn it like this so that you can see it a little bit easier. But if I hold that on my screen, you can see this bottom level here is analogous to this. Oops, let's draw something back there. This line right back there. Except this bottom level right here, when I tilt it up, you see, oh, that's actually a circle. So this is actually what the bottom of the vortex looks like. Your chakras are made of timelines. This is a crucial integument of understanding because, again, many people, they talk about chakras, they talk about energy, they talk about your energy body. What is your energy body actually made of? It is actually made of time. It is made of time, and your awareness is like the needle on an old-fashioned record player that is in the groove of time, playing the song of your life that you're experiencing. On energetic anatomy, this part right here, I hope that you can see that. There's a central part where your brow chakra, which is like this. Imagine a dinner plate in front of your face. That's your brow chakra. It's literally like a lens that you use to look at the world. Then you also have your crown chakra. That would be like, quote unquote, a halo, or the rotors, the blades of a helicopter spinning around and around and around. And what you'll notice is that these two chakras are at 90-degree angles to one another. So we've got, on the one hand, the indigo chakra at this orientation, horizontal. Then we have the violet chakra at this orientation, which is vertical. And it's the interplay of those two chakras that determines what timeline you are experiencing. And of these timelines, here in this time vortex, the timelines that are far out to the edge, you know, everything that's over here and over here, those are far outliers. Those are like huge unlikelihoods. That's like where you get kidnapped by pirates and Earth gets hit by a comet and reality turns inside out. Like those are all of the far outliers that in order to have a ascension experience, it is necessary to use your consciousness to steer away and guide yourself away from those experiences and towards the experience of that central timeline. If I were using an analogy and I said this is shaped like a tent, like a circus tent, the tent pole is the timeline that you wish to be aligned with, because that is the only timeline that actually exits this reality and brings you to the next layer. So, in terms of personal development, raising your energy up your spine and through your chakra centers to this level means that you are supremely vulnerable. You've raised your energy to the point where you know that you have an amazing capacity, but you do not yet have connection and divine guidance from the higher intelligence of the universe as to how to use your faculties. So this is crucial. We have just exited the era where humanity, in great hubris, thought that it was all that. Humanity thought that it had gotten to these levels of being divine because it got to this level, the Christian religion. However, it did not complete the circuit, which is getting to this level. And that has actually happened very recently. So the 2,000 years of iniquity, 2,000 years of fighting, 2,000 years of, after a person who came with a message of peace, continued warfare worse than ever. The reason for that is because humanity was exploring this level of hubristic pride, of thinking that it had gotten to this point of development but was not quite there yet. I have to pause. Oh, no, I don't have to pause yet. One moment. The whole idea is that now that we have entered into the age of Aquarius, we no longer require external authority figures. The age of Pisces, associated with the brow chakra that we just exited, was the age when it was appropriate or necessary to look for someone else to tell you what to do. Mommy, daddy, Jesus, Obama, some outside authority figure, tell me what to do, I don't know. And the reason for that is because most people had their third eye closed down. It's like not having your own GPS. When you get your own GPS, which is what happens when you activate your violet chakra, it is no longer necessary to have an external authority figure. It is no longer necessary for someone else to tell you how to steer your own consciousness. You begin to steer your own consciousness. And this is the journey of divinity, where you eventually will realize and recognize that you are divine. You are God. You do not have an external God who says to you, do this, be this, do it my way. You are God. That is the journey. That is where we are heading towards. So let me just go back. Let me just rewind a little bit now, though, because I want to get into the proportions. Let's make this bigger. A lot of this has to do with math. And I was saying that it's just like in school where you have a foundation of understanding. And it's important to not gloss over things because these things come back later. So again, there's a lot of new age teachers and they'll talk about like energy and light and your light body, but like, don't bother me with a lot of math or, you know, make me use my brain too much. But the truth is that math and numbers and the thing that we used to call geometry, but we are now calling the language of light and vibration and tone and harmonics, that these have an impact, that these have a significance, that if you it's like anything, you know something, you can learn to play the piano by ear. You don't actually have to learn to read music or know what the notes are. And you can copy songs, but in order to really begin to know how to write songs, it helps to learn some music theory. And really learning about the proportions is the equivalent of learning music theory, okay? So we're gonna start off here and understand that red is the longest wavelength, and that orange, and I hope that you can see this on the back screen back there, I'm highlighting it, is half of the size of red. And that yellow is 1/3 of the size of red. And green is 1/4 of the size of red. This means 4 green circles could fit inside of 1 red circle. It also means that green is moving 4 times as fast as red. When we get up to the higher faculties, things start moving even faster. So the throat chakra, this is 1/5 the size. The brow chakra is 1/6 of the size of the red chakra, and your violet chakra is always going to be 1/7 of the size of the red chakra. This matters. So I'm telling you this, my information comes from direct perception. When I first started working with these proportions, it was very direct and very intuitive. It's like drawing a self-portrait. I simply started drawing what I knew was inside of me. I did not know about math in fact, in my personal journey, I had lost my math skills due to neurological disruption and was numerically illiterate for many years. So when I came to this understanding and this information, I did not come to it with a strong math understanding. I didn't have the faculties to understand math, but I understood shapes. And I was able to draw these shapes and measure them out. And that, I think I showed you in part 1 of this lesson, the very simple painting that I started with. And I have also in the recorded lessons, the homework, some examples of these very simple circle shapes where I worked out the proportions. And that was the beginning of calibrating my perception to the perception of the chakras. And then once I started to do that, and I worked out these basic proportions, that is the basis for all of the artwork that came afterwards. And I didn't know that I was using mathematical formulas until I brought my artwork to math art conferences and had mathematicians say, you're using a Mobius transformation, or you're using Apollonian packing. So this four-lobed shape, this, four-lobed shape, I'm gonna draw it super fast like this. You see it all the time in all of my artwork. That is the result of a mathematical formula called the Mobius transformation. We'll get more into that in subsequent lessons, but it is the understanding that these paintings represent basic abstract truth of the universe. That basic abstract truth can be represented as math formulas, colorful, bright artwork, or even as music and notes and tones on the piano. It's all the same patterns being expressed through different media. So the pattern might be expressed through paintings and color, through harmonics of tone. It might be expressed through your physical body. Let's get in, well, you know something? Since we're doing the physical body, and it's almost time for me to switch over into the level 2 lesson, I want to open the floor to any comments, questions, or feedback on what I have just presented. And I know that I see your guys' microphones. They get muted automatically, I think, when I get started, but do not be shy. You can always unmute, or you can also ask questions in chat, but I want to offer an opportunity, a little momentary break if you need any questions, or if you need to refocus the conversation. If not, I'll use the next 4 minutes just to talk a little bit about the physical world.
I don't know if this question will make any sense, but are the chakras synchronized in some way so that the same timelines and the same through all of them or somehow? Does that make any sense?
Your voice broke up a little bit. I need clarity about the synchronization of the chakras.
Well, it occurred to me that the timelines for one chakra might be in the same place for all of them or something. Are they synchronized somehow?
That's a beautiful question, because you are associating the chakras with time. So, in this picture here, and I'll try and make it really, really bright so that you can really see it. Some chakras might be perfectly up and down. Some chakras might be slightly askew. Like I'm now drawing chakras in all sorts of different, levels of alignment. That is how some chakras are. And it changes. Just like wheels on a bicycle can wobble and warble like this, your chakras warble and wobble. And those are scientific words, by the way. So with every decision that you make during the day, your chakras are being focused and realigned. And yes, let's say your physical chakra might be perfectly in focus, but maybe your mental chakra is not in focus. And that would mean that your physical body and your molecules of your physical body are doing exactly what they need to do for health and longevity, but your mind is totally not in the right place or whatever. And mostly what happens is you can't be like 100% in alignment with your physical and 100% out of alignment with everything else. Like usually things interplay, that as one chakra comes into alignment, it makes the other chakras come into greater alignment. And same thing, if you stick a stick into the rotating wheels of a bicycle, all of that energy devolves and it gets bled out through friction. So it's the same thing. If you make one of the chakras go out of alignment, like many people have an emotional chakra that is out of alignment, that has a cascade or a ripple effect that makes all of the rest of the chakras go out of alignment. And think about that as an example. Like if you have a emotional disturbance, like you're chronically angry. Well, if you're chronically angry, your physical body is going to become chronically inflamed. If you're chronically angry, your mind and the thoughts that you think will be angry thoughts, and you'll be saying them all the time to other people. Like it basically affects the totality of the system, whatever's going on in the system. Very good question. Okay, I'm going to wrap up on level 1, save this lesson, and then there we go. And then get up my pictures for, thank you for bearing with me technologically while that saves, for level 2. We're going to be talking about advanced Merkaba stuff for the level 2 people. And I'm just going to take a little drink over here. You can see it's processing. Oh, and I also
wanted to say hi to Lottie.
Hello, Lucy. It's wonderful to hear from you.
How are you?